Oh, hold up. Forgot this one last thing. All right. Mhm, mhm. I don't know. I'm just cooling, waiting till this guy joins. Hold up, I'll be back. Get to two. I'll be back, chat. Hold up. Yo,
Yeah, yeah, it's all good now. Mm. Okay. hmm Um, question. Okay, so when do you think that like racism was like first I guess you could say like recorded? Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Mhm. They were. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you said what? Cause like you was lucky starting to cut out again. Hold on, I was gonna try to move. All right. All right, I'm back. All right, yeah, now I can hear you clear. Oh no, before you had started lagging out, you said that like white people were like socially on top or something. I don't know. I couldn't really hear you. Mm, well, I mean, you could like economically by statistics, Asian Americans are doing better. Oh, mm. Well, I mean, I can't really disagree with that because it's true. Yeah, I mean, like, but like, I don't get how like that adds to white people can't experience racism. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so like, okay, like that was what I wanted to ask. Can you go more into?
You
Yeah, I
should
can
be able
hear
to
you.
hear me now. You should be able to hear me now. Y'all can hear me now.
Mm. Oh
So,
yeah, I can.
all right.
Yeah.
So my chat can hear me. So yeah. So basically, what were you saying?
Okay, so like I was asked, like, can you go more into depth about how racism is a system?
Racism is a system. Every time a race is subordinated, because through sociology, racism is always the system. When we have these societal isms like sexism, racism, classism, heterosexualism, it's always going to be, when we have those societal isms, it's always going to be a system reinforcing that said ism. So us as men, we cannot experience sexism. We can be discriminated as a man, but that's an individual instance of us, not an overarching system of men being discriminated by women, because we live in a patriarchal society. We live in a society that was founded on the supremacy of whiteness. So that's why white people cannot experience racism.
Yeah, but that really still doesn't make sense
It doesn't make sense in the sense of
because
what?
like okay, so you said white people can't experience racism because they benefit from the system of racism,
They
but
benefit
you never
socially
really
from
went into
racism.
depth.
So let me.
But you never really went into depth about how racism is only a system.
I never said 7 forms of racism. Racism, it has to have a system though. If racism does not have a system, it can't be racism.
That doesn't make sense because that really doesn't make sense because like okay, so you're basically saying that without the government racism wouldn't exist. That just doesn't make sense because
Racism, systematic
like
racism could go also taking place in institutions like policing.
but like it would still take like that like higher power to make a whole system to oppress people.
Yes, and what system was that? The United States government, institutions within the United States government that oppress people.
Exactly. So you're saying without the government, there would be no racism.
Without a system reinforcing said racism, there would be no racism. Policing is a system. Is police the United States government? No.
Hmm.
The racial groups have to have institutional power over said other group to change things. So basically, we can see systematic institutional racism within healthcare, policing, housing. This is not the government. See, redlining that was
But
not. Hmm?
so like you're basically saying that like is president less power.
In a sense, prejudice versus power, but I don't like using prejudice versus power because prejudice can also be prejudice is not always bad in a sense.
Hmm. But continue, I guess.
So yeah, that's why racism. Using history, we never see racism without a system reinforcing it, or a system is there when
Hmm.
racism is there.
But like I do want to talk about how you said like white people can't be oppressed and be the oppressor. I just wanted to say that oppression doesn't always result in racism. Believing believing race is something believing race is something you should value. Oppression isn't something exclusive to what creates the concept of racism. So how can you sit here and say that oppression is a part of the definition of racism?
Oppression, because literally oppression and racism go hand in hand. If I can't control every aspect about you, if you can see throughout history, white people have been able to control what other racial groups within the United States do. I use I use Native Americans for example. They moved them off their land because they were Native American. That is racism, and the act that reinforced that racism was the act by, I think it was Andrew Jackson, the Indian Removal Act. That was a racist act that removed Native Americans off their land because white thought inherently, I am a colonizer, since this is now my land. I don't care about these other people because they are not white. So they must be not human. They're not seen as human to me. And also, black people were seen as subhuman. So let me get these Africans from Africa, bring them over on a boat,
Yeah,
and enslave
yeah. I mean, like, yeah. That's one definition of racism, which is the belief that one race is superior, and all other races is inferior to that one race. But
them, and then
that's
the
still not
reinforcement
oppression.
of it, and then the reinforcement of it. I can think
Yeah,
all day.
yeah,
I can think all day.
yeah.
As
Yeah, like back in like the 1700s and stuff, like back like when all that stuff was going on. Yes, then yes, you can say that it was like being reinforced in systems and stuff. But like now, I don't get how you can say that. I don't get how you can say that white people can't experience racism because of what happened in the past.
So, do you believe that white people experience systematic? Do you even believe in the concept of systematic racism?
Yeah.
Do you think that white people experience systematic racism today?
No, not really. Well, no, not at all.
Don't experience it at all. So, without black people are the oppressed, right?
Mhm.
And white people are the ruling class. They're in the racial hierarchy, which is a social construct. White people are right here, right?
Hold on. Okay. So just because white people have not been oppressed before, that means that they still can experience racism. I don't really get that. Like, I don't get why they had to have been systemically oppressed
Some
in
use
order
it
to experience
systematically.
racism.
Use it systematically. So you step on an ant,
Mhm.
and the ant bites you.
Mhm.
Which all right. So since, is it the ant's fault that they bit you, or is it your fault that you stepped on the ant? Thinking you're superior than the ant,
It's
but the
my
ant
fault.
still bit you. Exactly. So we can
Yeah, it's
use
my
this.
fault.
We can use this to
But like,
white people and black people. White
but
people
like the
have,
flaw with that logic is that how can you blame modern day white people for that
because
and
they
say that they
benefit
can't
from
experience
racism.
racism?
They benefit from it. You know what do you believe in the concept of white privilege?
No,
Don't believe in the concept of white privilege. So you
no.
don't believe that it's just a coincidence that despite making up three-fourths of the U.S. population, that white people don't make up the highest prison population. They aren't more likely to get shot by police. They will
Mm.
receive, a black man will receive 2 times longer sentencing than a white person for the same exact crime. You see that black kids are 3 times more likely to be suspended than white kids for the same offense, and you say white privilege doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
What do you believe the concept of white privilege is?
I believe it's basically just like where like people think that white people can white people like have this like basically like I don't really know how to explain it. Like all I can really do is go off the definition.
White people throughout history, through history that their ancestors have laid, have societal, political, and economic privileges that African Americans and other people don't. White privilege, in essence, is white people being able to function with society without having to worry about their skin color and worrying about having their skin color hold them back. That's in essence what white privilege is.
But I mean, like, okay, so that was the definition of white privilege?
In a sense, yes.
I was just gonna look up the definition just so like I can go off that definition to describe it.
Hold on, I have a source for white privilege. It's from Vanderbilt. It's from Vanderbilt University. White privilege: the concrete benefits of access to resources and social rewards, and the power to shape the norms and values of society which white receive, unconsciously and consciously by virtue of their skin color in a racist society. So we know. Do you agree that white is the beauty standard and white is what's normal, right?
Yeah.
So that's white privilege right there. White is accepted as normal. Is accepted as the beauty
I believe
standard.
that's just like toxic beauty standards. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily the beauty standard, but like I think like really like Disney promoted that type of stuff, and like the TV corporations and stuff.
Why is white seen as the beauty standard though? Why is white seen as normal?
Because it's promoted so much
by
through
who?
TV.
By who?
TV corporations.
And who owns those said TV corporations?
I don't know. Who?
White people. It's a white man that owns Disney.
Oh, for real?
Yes. So you just admitted that white people have reinforced and made themselves the normal and made themselves the beauty standard, correct?
Yeah.
So in essence, that is white privilege.
I guess you got a point there, yeah.
So we see that white people benefit from this racism where it is seen that white people are the normal up here and black and other other races and ethnic groups are down here. Whiteness in itself is oppressive.
So like, okay, so white people inherently oppressors?
Yes, it's called passive racism.
Okay, can you tell me the meaning of oppression?
The meaning of oppression. The meaning of oppression is to be able to economically, politically, and socially strip away resources from a group of people for your own gain. That's what I would say oppression is. And to put those people down and put yourself up on a pedestal.
Oppression means prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment. But like that's the thing. I don't get how white people are oppressing us, because that's the meaning of oppression.
How white people are oppressing us in America, cruel and by a political or a governmental entity. That's what the definition says. Oppression. This is
it doesn't necessarily say.
This is from Vanderbilt University. Oppression. The combination of prejudice and institutional power creates a system that discriminates against some groups, often target groups, and benefits other groups, called dominant groups. Examples of these systems are racism, sexism, heterosexism, ableism, classism, ageism, and anti-Semitism. These systems enable dominant groups to exert control over target groups by limiting their rights, freedom, and access to basic resources such as healthcare, education, employment, and housing.
Mhm.
So that's what a
Hold on.
person is.
Hold on. You said that white people had never been like racially oppressed.
White in America, no.
Mm.
By black people, it may have been by no, actually, because the Irish were seen as white until recently as the '60s. So yeah, the Irish and Italians, the concept of
Okay,
whiteness.
so what about so what about the North African pirates that abducted and enslaved more than 1 million Europeans
Talking about the Barbary,
between 1530 and 1780?
talking about the Barbary slave trade. The Barbary slave trade was
I
based on
believe.
religion. And do you understand that white North Africans exist also with black North Africans? And North Africa is a diverse place with diverse people groups. You understand that, right? So these
You said
white
what?
people, these North Africans, North Africa had no concept of race. North Africans didn't invent the
Mhm.
concept of race. These people were not enslaved for their race; they were enslaved because of their religion. You can see it says 1 to 2 million white Christian Europeans. They were enslaved. It also wasn't hereditary. It wasn't race based, and they weren't seeing. It was no laws within the North Africa government and the North African pirates, which saw those white people as 3/5 of a person. So yeah, it was done by Muslims to enslave Christians.
Mhm.
So yeah, they have never been racially oppressed for being white in America,
Yeah.
and I don't think anywhere else.
But I do want to go back on how you said racism was originally systemic.
It always will be systemic.
No, I mean, because the root of racism was not from oppression. That was a consequence of it. It was originally that they believed the racial group wasn't valuable because of their race, which caused oppression. It wasn't the start of oppression; it caused oppression.
So I'm basically just use this. Me and you are yelling at each other across the room, right? We're just saying anything and everything and everything. So basically, no, I use this. Two people groups don't like each other. We use the Native Americans for example. Were the Native Americans racist to themselves
Mm.
because they had tribal warfare? Or was it when Europeans came over and systemized the oppression towards the natives? Because Native American people were not racist to each other. They were not over here attacking each other because they were native. If you
Mm.
get me. There are always going to be certain types of tribalism where I can use this with the pygmies in East Africa. They were seen as subhuman or hunted as subhuman. That to me would be some type of ethnic or tribal warfare. But their violence against the pygmies is not systemized. So that's why it can't be racist.
Yeah, but hold on. You said that's why who can't be racist?
It can't be racist. It's just tribal warfare.
Oh, oh, I thought you said something else. I mean, in a way, you got a point, but I still stand on my point that racism was not originally systemic.
Racism will always inherently be systemic because those ideas and thoughts, they're just thoughts. That's what they are. They're just thoughts. That's all they are. They're thoughts that people have written down and have thought about. So, I'm gonna use what I think about you, and I'm gonna make sure that you and your descendants. I'm gonna reinforce my way of thinking to justify the way that you and your descendants are treated for the rest of the time that my racial group is on top of America. That's what racism is. Not just I think you're not I don't think you're superior to me. I think you're inferior. That's not what racism is.
Mm. Hold on. You said what?
Right? The only reason why those ideas are racist today is because they were reinforced by the system. The reason why it is racist to call a black person monkey or any type of other simian group is because that idea was reinforced with slavery.
So I just want to ask, why wouldn't it be racist for me to call a white person a cracker?
Cracker is a classist slur. It's not a racist slur.
I think you on mute,
Cracker is a classist slur. It's not a racist slur.
huh?
Cracker is a classist slur. It's not a racial slur. It's no racial undertone with it.
Can I have a source for that?
The history of the word cracker. It was used by rich white people to demean poor white people.
Um, I still don't get how that doesn't make it a racial slur. I mean, just because it wasn't necessarily used in the context of, I mean, in a way, it actually was used in the context of race, if you really think about it, because they were using it to, like bring down poor, not, like just like, yeah.
And also, cracker is also used. Another origin is that it's used for the crack of the whip. So black people would be called cracker too. So yeah, I'm gonna have to leave.
So what about snow monkey?
No monkey. What number one? What historical context does that have? What systems have been reinforced for snow monkey?
See, that's what I don't get. See, okay, so
What
y'all say that
reinforcement had
something
that
has
have?
to be a racial slur or like a word used in the system in order for it to
So are
be
you
a
trying to say
racial
that
slur.
Are
Like,
you trying to say that snow
you're saying
monkey
that it
is
has to have
comparable?
history behind it.
Are you saying that snow monkey can be comparable to the N word?
No, I'm just saying it can still be
Cannot
used as a
is no
racial
such
slur.
thing as more racist and less racist. No, can snow monkey be comparable to the N word?
I mean, in a way, but
It's in no type, way, shape, or form can it be compared.
I mean, but like, I still don't get, like, how is it not racist for me to call someone a snow monkey,
Because
or just
that
or just
white person
or
can
just
just
any insult,
it can they
or
can
just or just
function with society.
or just any insult, or, or just any insult that's referring to their
Yes,
race. How is that not racist?
I'm gonna have to go. We can continue this debate on a later date. I'll say you free Monday at 3:15 Central Time.
Dang, no, not Monday, but I'm free Tuesday though,
All right, Tuesday. We'll
cause I
continue with
had
Tuesday.
practice on
All right, we
Monday.
continue with Tuesday.
Uh,
All right, chat. We'll continue that Tuesday, man. That was nice. That was a nice little intellectual warm up. You know what I'm saying, bro? No, I had to pull out the L. I didn't think I was gonna have to pull out the El Gato like that, bro. What y'all think about that, chat? What y'all think about that little bit? What y'all think? Good argument. Yeah, I just need him to get like. I just need him to get the argument. If you get what I'm saying, man. I had to get him to get the argument. But hold on, I'll be back. Alright, Elias. I'm out, chat. I do got a debate scheduled